I made this sample vest in the last video. Links, editing corn, yeah? Always ahead of the game, I knew it. Learned a lot. I have my supplies for the final one. So it's time to put this knowledge to use and make the final one. The outer shell is a nice thick cotton twill fabric. And then I have my usual block pattern here. By the armpit here, I'm going to go out by an inch. But then I also want to go down by an inch. So that's going to be to here. I'm tracing out the armhole as it is for now, because I need to bring that in a second. I'm going out a full 2 inches in the center, so that way I have fabric for the placket. Okay, back to the armhole, and then I want to go in about 5/8 here, just to make room for where the arm bends inwards. And then finally curve it down and around and meet that initial mark we made at the beginning. My math was a little off. I actually needed to go out 2 3/4, not just 2. Whew. Now I have doubled my fabric so it mirrors this shape, and that's the one that's going to be used on the inside of the vest. A total of 4 pieces for the front. I'm making the same adjustments underneath the armpits in the back, down. And then the swoop in is considerably gentler in the back as well. Two pieces for the back. For the insulation on the inside, I'm putting this lamb's wool that I paid entirely too much money for, but is oh so soft and super warm, I hear. I have doubled up this batting as well, because I find it's just a little bit too thin if I do a single layer. So I got my line down the middle, so that way my quilting is nicely centered. And then I just go ahead and start drawing in these lines. All right, editing corn. It's quilting time, and I've got a lot of work to do. So what do you say? A montage and a ditty?
My thoughts are wild, like a child when I'm alone there with you. All my worries in the world are blown far away in the wind. So maybe I just need to find a place where we can both walk beside each other in our arms together and never stray too far. Still I'm struggling to see what it is that I could be, but I just can't forget. No, I can't let it go. And I remember everything.
And now, for a bit of magic, I'm going to make these white lines I drew disappear. I am going to put in some pleats in the back here. Come on, sit flat for me, please. Next up, the front pockets, and I'm going to do good old-fashioned welt pockets just like I did here. I am making these pieces rather large for a reason that will make sense in a minute. And I made the pocket go all the way to the bottom so that I can now curve it down and have a little pouch at the bottom. It's all a bit challenging. I think that's quite nice. And then flip it around. My hands can hang out down here. Starting to take shape, looking a bit like a vest, eh? According to my winter coat, looks like I want to align that inside pocket with the bottom of the sleeve hole. I want my inside pockets to also be double welts, just like my coat. But I've never actually made any before, so I'm just doing a quick demo here. Good thing I did the demo. I made that top welt entirely too big. But at least I know how to do it now. Line up where I want these pocket holes. I also seem to have run out of beige thread. So I decided to switch over to a white thread. There we go. Happy with that. I can now finally sew all these panels together. So what do you say, editing corn? I think we're due for another musical interlude, right?
So, okay, so, okay, so, okay, so, okay, so, okay, so, unconditional.
Now, they'll placket in the front here, and I did do myself a nice little sample, and the key feature is this extra flap that hides the row of buttons. Iron down some interfacing on the inside. Continuing on the double flap side, sewing along the edge. Measure the 1.5 inches. Fold and iron. And repeat on this other side. It's a good thing I did a sample, because figuring out how to do these seams at the bottom here was my biggest challenge. What I do is flip this inside out in the opposite direction I just pressed it. I run a short seam along. I do the same thing with this inside piece. Run that short little seam as well. And then I simply fold these flaps together. Right underneath here is the fold. So just after it, I pick up sewing, and that attaches the inside and outside panels together. Before we finish working our way around, let's move to the flap on the other side. Here too, I'm starting with a stitch on the outside. Press that seam open. This placket is only 1 3/8 because it needs to be a little bit shorter in order to be able to tuck into the other one. But because this one's just a single flap, I can just keep on going along. And now this all needs to go inside out to the right way. There we go. That's one. Doing a quick fit check, and it looks like I'm going to need to pull just a little bit out of the sides. It's a bit too big. Okay, back on track. And now, pressing out along the bottom here. I'm top stitching all three of the placket pieces. My collar with the option for collar stays. I've done a whole video about this. Also got to finish off the edges of the sleeve. I'm attaching it on the inside first. Now I've flipped it around the other way. I just stitch it down on the other side for the finish. Doing some buttonholes. Editing corn, it's time. Let's appreciate our handiwork.